Hey everybody, I'm Tony at Show Interface Brief, and today is day 43 of the 100 days of labbing journey. And today I just did some more reading out of the official cert guide on the subject of QoS. And so again, just trying to expose myself to the large vocabulary that is QoS. So there's a whole bunch of new terms to learn and how things are all put together in theory. So I think I'm starting to get the hang of it as far as foundations, as far as basics go. I'm definitely not at an advanced level and definitely not at an expert level, but I am approaching a foundation level of QoS, having only done a little bit of reading ever in my life on the subject, and having only implemented it a couple of times in some labs. So I think I'm quite fond of QoS. I think it's actually pretty cool. I sort of like all of the sort of rules and ways that I guess people who have designed the protocols and the way the routers operate and how they need to share, common resources in regards to the processor and memory and everything. Sort of how they designed QoS, to work within the confines of the hardware that was available. And I think that's pretty cool. Early on in this journey, I started to look at PFR, which was performance routing, and that can rely heavily on QoS as a way to sort of steer traffic onto or off of one link or another. And I thought that was really cool, and I definitely didn't understand how to make that happen at the time. I'm sure I still don't know how to implement it, but I think the idea of PFR as sort of an early precursor to what we typically take for granted at most SDN platforms today. I think it's very cool how it leans on QoS and how that is sort of the foundation on, or one of the pillars, I guess you could say, on how to take into account the different classes of traffic. One of the things that I have to test, and that's one of the things about QoS, is I think it's hard to test, or at least I haven't found a good way to test it. Now, in the INE workbook for some of the QoS labs, they have you test it by standing up a web server on one of the routers and pointing its, I guess, root folder to the boot flash where your iOS image is being held, and then copying that image across the wire as a way to generate TCP and HTTP traffic, more specifically. And that's so you can kind of see QoS in action. And one of the ways, because of how the INE workbook and the INE labs are, typically each router has a single physical interface connected to either a hub or a switch. And it's through sub-interfaces that they logically chain the routers together to build topologies that look nothing like the physical topology. And one of the QoS methods they were showing in the workbook on how to get around that is actually shaping your traffic down and nesting a policy in another policy. So nesting a policy that takes into account all of the bandwidth and priority statements, and nesting that policy in another policy that does an overall shaping and applying that to a sub-interface. And I was just tooling around in the command line a little bit today, and I noticed that you can make a class map match a VLAN ID or VLAN IDs or a range of VLAN IDs. And I'm wondering if that's not a better way to do that. For example, why can't we just take a QoS policy or class, identify a VLAN ID, nest that in a policy, and apply a bandwidth setting or bandwidth restriction, or I guess a reservation, to that class, and apply that to the physical interface? Wouldn't that enable us to at least do a bandwidth reservation at that level? But couldn't we also do shaping at that level? And wouldn't it shape only that VLAN, not all the VLANs on that interface? So that's something I want to be able to try, but I'm not. So I think I can do the configuration, but I'm not sure how I can actually test it with traffic to make sure it's implemented. I just don't have an easy way to do that. I don't have a traffic generator in my environment, and even if I did, I'm not sure I could set that up easily and repeatable or flexible enough to be used over and over and over. So if anyone has any ideas out there, please let me know in the description below. So I actually didn't do any labs tonight. I reviewed the bookwork, some notes, and I just kind of did some reading, which takes me a very long time. I don't do very well with reading comprehension. I really prefer video learning, which is why I love the CBT Nugget series videos and the INE, all of the different subjects that they cover in INE's video series. I really enjoy that style. I don't enjoy reading very much, so it takes me much longer. I know some of you out there prefer reading. You know, I have a friend who refuses to watch any of my videos, and he says, I'll only participate in your stream or take note of your stream if you have a way to write it all down so I can read it as fast as I want. And I just don't understand how that works. But, you know, different strokes for different folks, and everybody's different. And that's okay. So anyhow, I'm gearing up on my QoS. There are 3 chapters in the CCIE official cert guide relating to QoS. I am coming up on the end of the 2nd chapter, which is actually chapter 4, which covers congestion management and avoidance. And then after that, it's going to be shaping, policing, and link fragmentation. And then I think that's it. Yeah, and then that's it for the QoS section. So I probably have another 20 or 40 pages to go, so another day or two. I think tomorrow I'll try to pick up doing some more INE labs in the QoS section of the workbook. I really enjoy them. They're a lot of fun, and it's a great way for me to learn via hands-on. And then I will get ready for our troubleshooting lab number 3, which we're going to do this Sunday, I believe. This Sunday, we're probably going to start very early in the morning, hopefully about 7, and just go all day and see if we can't solve all those tickets. So that's it, guys. It's just past midnight now. I'm going to be signing off. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.